Yo, welcome back to what do we got? Week 10 of B.E.N.T here. Listen, Christmas coming up, so I just thought I'd make a mid-season video for y'all. We got about 7 more games left in this season. No more undefeated teams left. I lost the Eagles this past weekend, as you can see up there, 31-6. Tough game. Hey, you lose some, you win some, but let's get into some mid-season stuff. So we're coming over here to stats. I believe they have yearly awards right now. So right now, rookie legend John Mateer is leading, not far behind is Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson Sr. off of that trade to the Colts. And we have our rookies of the year. We go rookie of the year. We got player of the year as well, but strong on the rookies here. Got Mateer, Haynes King, and Oscar Delp top 3, and Nick Arbor, K Club not falling from behind. Then we have CJ Allen, Trey Smith on the Jags as well. King, Mack, Sonny Styles, and Harold Perkins. Then we go over to the NFC. We have our OPOY. It'll be Makai Hughes, Jeremiah Love, Tootin, and Blue. And then we have Lucas Van Ness for the Seahawks. Really big over there. They had a tough game, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We got Zach Bond for the Eagles, Lattimore Commanders, Damani Jackson for the Eagles, 99 speed. Shout out to him. Jahad Campbell also over there. And for Rookie of the Year, I believe we already went over that, but Defensive Rookie over there, we had Damani Jackson, Randon Fournette. That's a crazy name. And we got Catalan and Perkins, man. That Buccaneers defense going strong with Myles Garrett gone. And then I don't believe we did a Coach of the Year. So we come back. Coach of the Year is here to lose, trying to go back-to-back on Super Bowl this year, Jags. And not falling from behind, we got C. Carter. We got Isaac Newton. Shout out to him, bro. I didn't know he came back to life. We got Mandy Carter and then Black Mamba. We want to go over to some team stats here. The Bucks just played, so the results are skewed a little bit. But the number one offense is right now, I think Bucks were like 5 or 6 before they played their game today, but they scored 84 today. So we got Bucks, Ravens, Bengals, Titans, Eagles, Jags coming in at number 6. And we go to top defense. We got Chiefs at 1, Jags at 2, Lions at 3, Eagles at 4, and Broncos at 5. We like to talk about the turnover game, man. Turnover game. We got the Bucks, Eagles, Jets, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, and the Vikings leading that, with the 49ers, Jaguars, Browns, Texans not falling too far behind. We go back to offense. We got our number 1 offense in the league by number metric is the Buccaneers by a high margin, but once again, they did score like 84 points today, so a little bit skewed on the stats right now. Then we got Jags coming in at 40, and then we got some 30s in here with the Bengals, the Packs, the Bears, Commanders, Eagles, and so on. Passing touchdowns right now, it's the Bucks, Eagles, and Jags top 3. John Mateer had that struggle last week, still number 1 in MVP voting. And then number 1 sack defense, we have the Ravens, followed by the 49ers, the Chiefs, the Bucks, and then the Steelers. Jags at 6, Patriots at 7. And we got number 1 fumble team, that'll be the Patriots. Shout out to Ocho. The Jets and the Ravens, Kibby over there. And then Packers, of course, that's a really good defense, And we got the Eagles and the Buccaneers coming in with 22, Broncos 21, got 7 picks in the last game. Falcons, Vikings, and Commanders all close by at 19, 16, and 15 respectively. We got some third down teams, some 60s, high 60s from the Packers, the 49ers, Bears, Cowboys, and then the Lions and the Jags at 53 and 52 respectively. 80%, and then 100%. Chiefs don't miss. They don't miss on these 4th down conversions. Cardinals at 92, Bucks at 86, Saints at 84, and Panthers at 80, tied with the Jaguars. 2-point conversions, as we see here, not too many in the league, but they have kicks up here. I want to see who's been making their kicks, but I don't believe they have their kicks up here right now, but you can find those out in like a minute. But we got red zone efficiency, one of the hardest places to score in Madden. So shout out to the Chiefs, man. He's doing his thing, holding firm. Packers, Browns, Panthers, Chargers, Jags, Dolphins, Jets, Bills, Bengals, Cowboys for that top 10 spot. We got the 60s of the Chiefs and the Packers respectively. Number 1 defense, Not out to the 49ers. 25% in there. You know, if you get to the red zone with the 49ers, you ain't scoring. And we got well, you ain't scoring a touchdown, at least you might get a field goal. But we got Titans, Cowboys, Ravens, and Eagles rounding out our top 5. You know, least penalized team is the Commanders, and then our most penalized team is the Jets, the Rams, Raiders, Dolphins, and Panthers. Shout out to them. Playing good ball. It was a different, little bit of a different format video here, you know, just going into the mid-season, wanted to cover some bases, you know, give everybody their props for how they played this season, you know, rather than doing clips and stuff. We'll get back to that after the New Year's, but and coming in at passing, Jalen Hurts, like we said, he threw for 84. They dropped 84 points, so it's a little bit skewed. But the number 3 before that were Burrow, Mateer, and Richardson. It should balance out once they play. And then number 1 in passing touchdowns is Hurts, Richardson, and Mateer. You know, Hurts 38-8, Richardson 35-14, Mateer 29-10, 76-71, 63 completion percentage, respectively. Yards per game goes to Burrow, Mateer, and Love. And then our QB rating, we got Hurts number 1, Purdy number 2, McCarthy 3, Josh Allen 4, and Anthony Richardson number 5. But like we said, bro, Bryce Young needs an offensive line. Baker Mayfield still taking 28. Herbert, Nussmeier, Jalen Milroe at 22. So, you know, want to invest into those big boys in the offseason for some of those teams that we already have. Tony Pollard midseason already hitting at 1,000 in stride with Jeremiah Love, you know, big rookie of the year contender, as we saw earlier, with 14 touchdowns. And then, of course, B. John Robinson, Hughes, and Tootin rounding out the top 5. Then we got Jay Love coming in again, top touchdowns tied with Derrick Henry, that freight train down there in Baltimore. Then we got Mekhi Hughes from Washington. You know, they run the ball a lot. Jaden Blue, Cowboys, they are struggling this year, but it doesn't mean they're not getting production. And then we have my GOAT, John Mateer. You know, shout out to him. 600 rushing yards and 13 TDs. That's why he is number 1 on that MVP, number 1. But we have Cameron Dike, or Chimere Dike, I believe that's how you pronounce that, with 1,000. Jamar Chase with 1,000 as well. Joe Burrow throwing long bombs. Marvin Harrison at 785. Burden at 3. Zachariah Branch 768 at 5. And then Oscar Delp almost at 1,000 as a tight end. You know, number 1 tight end in the league. Jaguars use him a lot in their passing game, averaging about 95. We got receiving touchdowns. We got DK with 16, Zachariah Branch with 15, Jamar Chase with 14, Ashton St. Louis with 11, and Marvin Harrison Jr. at 9, tied with Golden, Addison, and Brown. You know, coming back to this, giving up big sacks. Mike McGliflin, you know, not protecting Bo Nix as he should be protected. You know, giving up some big sacks for those guys. You don't like to see it. But we want to go to now. We go to defense now. We have our tackle leaders. This is going to be mostly the AIs or auto sims because, you know, they play the most, but still shout out to those guys respectively. Tackles for loss, Kayvon Thibodeau. You know, in a surprising trade last year, Kayvon Thibodeau got traded for you know, Hines Allen. Jags didn't want to take on that contract, you know. Then we got Sexy Dexy, bro. No surprise there. It's one of the best D tackles in Madden. Then we have Lucas Van Ness being used more on the line this year in Seattle, followed by Jonathan Grenard and Kendrick Folk. Our sack leaders are also Lucas Van Ness, Grenard, and then Thibodeau coming in at 8. Pick leaders, we have Zach Bond out of Philly, Marshawn Lattimore, a veteran. We'll talk about him more later. Randon Fontenette, he is a free safety rookie. Shout out to him. Then Campbell, tied with Horn, Catalan, and Thompson. We got some forced fumbles. You know, CJ Allen, Carlton Davis, Justin Reed, Cameron Kinchins, Trey Smith, Tariq Woolen. We got some touchdowns this year, plenty of touchdowns. Kayvon with 2, Will Johnson with 2, and then plenty of people tied for number 1. Now, like I said, I want to see who been making their kicks this year. Who been making those kicks, man? You know, kicks are more important than people may think. So we'll just go we'll go made. We'll go made. No, we'll go temps. We'll go temps. So we got Ocho struggling a little bit down there, 64%, but 100% from the stripe with the extra point. Will Lutz, 84%, 76 from Kaimi, 13 or 76% for the Broncos. Ryland, 69%. Dicker the kicker, 100. Shout out to a Texas Beast out there putting in work. You got Stevens, 83. Got Harrison Bucker, Tyler Luke, Tyler Bass. Plenty of kickers, a decent amount at 100. Not taking that many kicks, but shout out to those guys. We go back into our 100 club. We got Dicker the kicker, Santos. Dicker the kicker actually won a game. I don't know if you guys have heard about Dicker the kicker threw a clutch time touchdown for the Chargers to win. Is Justin Herbert and the backup got hurt. Dicker the kicker just he stepped on the field and he got it done. We got a coup. We got Sanders, Rykar, Cam Little, of course. Shout out to him. Joey Sly, look at all those extra points, man. 40, 33, 32. Man, guys putting in work. We got punting, one of the worst teams be punting. Some punters don't get to touch the field. These guys barely touch the field, like at all. We got some names up here. So, is what it is. Kick returns. I don't know if we have any. We have had a couple kick returns touchdowns this year. Two by Zachariah Branch. Shout out to that speed. Nick Arbor with 1, Duvernay with 1, and Love with 1 as well. And we got punting. No punting returns yet. But like I said, shout out to all these guys. Everybody. We're gonna move on to some recap for the weekend. For the mid-season, be my last video for about like a week or two, just handling. Moving on here, starting off with our game of the week. Eagles 631, trouncing the Jaguars. Mateer struggled a little bit, but everybody takes a loss. No undefeated teams left. Shout out to him. Good defense. Jaguars look to bounce back, maintain that first seed. Eagles look to maintain that first seed as well. They have two tough matchups against the Giants and the Commanders, bringing us to our next game. Giants taking it 28-31. No, Giants finished second of obviously losing to the Jaguars in the Super Bowl last season, but this season they're facing a little bit of struggle here. So you expect a better outing over there for the Giants, but I believe they are even now. We'll get into the standings a little bit later, but they do maintain the 3-point win over the Commanders. Titans 35-34 Titans. Warriors 4 touchdowns and a good win for him. Titans trying to maintain, in the hunt status in the AFC. It's a pretty close one. We got Colts 27-21. Harbor and Mendoza, I believe, still building a little bit of that connection down there in the steel mill, but they couldn't maintain it. Caden Salter gets his first win as a rookie. Saints bring it out 23-35 over the good old boys in blue. Trevor Lawrence, man, comeback player of the year, man. He's doing a lot after getting that trade from the Jaguars last season. While his team won a chip without him, he's moving on to the Saints, trying to do bigger and better things. And we go to my GOAT, my favorite user, Ocho, man. Good to see him win. I believe he's on like a three win streak, sitting at 3-6 right now. Still win that division, Hey, Ocho said he was gonna win the division. He had some tough games against some tough opponents early, but always love to see Ocho take a win. We got 21-35. Kibbe takes that one. Ravens run game. We talked about Derrick Henry earlier doing big things, and man, Scottish Duke, we know, brother. Scottish Duke, man, Scottish Duke was mad at the presser. They weren't prepared. They weren't prepared for that rainy weather down there, up there in Denver. So it's tough, man. It was a monsoon out there, man. Jalen Milroe threw 7 interceptions. Couldn't really see the field like that, but it's tough for anybody to play in those conditions. And we got Chiefs 38-24. Chiefs silent, sneaky. Matt DeNolo, I believe they're 7-1, tied with the Jaguars now for first seed. And we have the Buccaneers 10-56. Bucks snatched that chain, man. I know we talking about Roofy Way. I believe Roofy started off like 6-0. He's on like a 3-game losing streak now, but shout out to him. Shout out to Manfred as well. They get that 10-56 win. Lions 24-21, close one. Shroud and they've been struggling. CJ and them boys been struggling. We talked about a couple weeks ago. Jahmyr Gibbs had that fumble. They lose the game that way, and It's been a lot of close ones for them, so good to see them get back on the road. And as well, Cowboys 20-38. Now, we like to talk about this NFC East, but the Eagles have just purely dominated so far. But they still haven't played the Cowboys yet. I believe they swept the Cowboys. They haven't beat the Giants, excuse me if I misspoke. I believe they have to play the Commanders one more time. So yeah, NFC is still alive. You know, the Giants can pull out 2 victories. Maybe the Eagles lose more than 2 more times, they can take that division. We got 24-27 49ers bang on them. Shout out to Bryce Young. No, not Bryce Young. My bad. Shout out to Brock Purdy out there. We got another 24-27 outing as the Chargers get their first win, man. Texans, it's looking tough. You know, maybe it's a rebuild year for them. They got their rookie quarterback, but you know, losing to the team who has no wins is losing to the team for their first victory is always tough, especially going into week 9 here. Moving on to our mid-season standings. We got a 2-way tie in the North. Tiebreakers aside, 5-3, 5-3 coming for the Pack, and I believe that's Ross on the Pack, and then the Packers user, his name escapes me. I apologize. We got 4-4 for the Lions as well. Manfred 6-2 for the Bucks. Roofway 6-3 for the Falcons, followed by the Saints and VA Chris over there. 2-8 for the Panthers. 8-1 Eagles. I forgot the user's name. I'm bad with names. You got a 5-3 Commanders. Shout out to them. I believe that is Hitman. Shout out to one of our admins. We 4-4 Giants. 4-5. Shout out to the commish. And then Joe 7-2 in the West, still making big plays. 5-3 Dubsy Dimes. 5-4 Scottish Duke. 2-7 and Rams. Moving on to our mid-season standings, we have the Bengals 4-4, Ravens 4-4, Browns 4-5, Steelers 3-6. Man, this is a tough division. You know, it's kind of mimicking real life, man. Those guys just beating each other every week. Nobody can really make a solid game to see it's my division. No, it's my division. No, it's my division. No, it's my division. Now it's the Bengals division. Last 2 weeks has been the Browns division. Man, I don't know. I thought really strongly that the Bengals were gonna take this division away, but as we can see, they're struggling a little bit. 4-4. Excuse me. Moving on to the South, 7-1 Jaguars, still maintaining that dominance in the AFC. Did take a loss to the Eagles, but everybody takes a loss. It was good to lose early. Jaguars took a couple losses last year and still got to the Super Bowl and won it all. Then we got Space out here, Space H, my goat. 3-5 Titans doing big things. Then we got the Colts, man, having a down year a little bit. Bots plays I think he plays me this week, but having a little bit of down year so far. You know, that trade for Anthony Richardson, I know I've mentioned it every time I make a video, but I still can't wrap my head around that he traded that guy, man. Look what he's doing for the Eagles. And then we got moving on for the Texans, man. Big for the Texans, you know, struggling just a little bit. Jeezy is, I believe that's the Texans user, but we still got faith in him. And we got a match, man. We talk about the North, the East. The only division that's really running away in the AFC East is the South. The Jaguars are probably going to keep the South in contention and probably just ride out with that to the first or the second seed, depending on the Chiefs' antics in the AFC West. But coming back to the East, man, Dolphins started off strong and they lost, and they came back. They got another win, and now they're losing compared to Ocho. Ocho was 0-6 now on a 3-game winning streak. So love to see who's gonna win that, man. You know, Ocho was saying, if my season goes bad, I'm trading all my players. But hey, he can still win that division. So we'd love to see what he's doing out there. Then we got the Chiefs, Matt DeNolo, Raiders, Arthur the King, 6-3, and then Texas Beats 1-8 out there. We're gonna move on to something a little bit different now that we have reached the midway of the playoffs. I think it's time. You know, I'll move my face cam out of the way. I didn't know it was blocking so much. Let me move it here just a little bit for y'all. And division leaders so far, we have first and second are tied. Technically, Chiefs maybe have that, but they play each other. So I mean, hey, the tiebreaker could go either way. And third and fourth seed respectively. You know, division leaders got to get in. So we might have a negative team getting in this year. And then we have the wild card coming out of the AFC East is the Raiders and the Broncos respectively. And then the Ravens. And something compared to the NFC you'll see is there's so many more teams in the hunt in the AFC is it's so close. So many teams not doing that well, surprisingly. We have the Browns at 4-5, 3-5, like we said, bots for the Colts, 3-6, Steelers, Ocho coming in at 3-6 as well. Trying to get that spot over the Dolphins. You know, for a lot of these teams, especially in the East and the North, it is get the division and get in or don't get in at all. And we have the Jets 3-6, 3-6 as well for the Texans, and then 3-5 for space coming in for the Titans. Moving on, playoff picture for our NFC. Eagles 8-1 coming in first seed right now, but 49ers do have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. So if the Eagles lose one of those games to the Giants and the 49ers went out, now we have a situation where Joe from PA, he is now the first seed. So keep an eye on that in the NFC. It's always close, not too far behind. We have the Buccaneers coming in for our third seed, and then the Bears, of course, in the North. Then we have the Falcons at 6-3, Commanders at 5-3, Packers at 5-3 as well. If it ended today, the Cardinals, Seahawks, Giants, and Lions would all be out. But like I said, Giants, they could win out. You know, they could beat the Eagles twice, and then that makes the Eagles go to 3 losses. And then if should they lose one more, then the Giants take the NFC. So still anybody's game. You know, really hope we can see one of those 2 games happen in the future. And then yeah, for the Cardinals, they struggled. They were top of the division a little bit, but they're still in there right with the Seahawks. Scottish Duke, had the 7th interception loss. And Lions could still win it. A lot of these teams, we've got 3 North teams in here. Pack Show, Bears, and the Lions as well. Now here's my favorite part of the video. If you didn't see in chat, I was asking about it just a little bit. Who got that money to spend? I seen a lot of these players, hey, they might go up here. We're gonna move my face cam just a little bit up here so y'all can see a little bit more of these players. But like I said, man, Bears, DeAndre Swift, we got Tyree Stevenson, I believe, and then Walker. These are calculated. A lot of these are speculative. So don't come to me be like, I got more money, I'm not gonna lose these players. It's a speculation. Speculation. Some people might want to save. We got Battle, DJ Turner, strong corner. I highlighted some of these players here in gold. Those are some impact players. DJ Turner's like a 95, 96 speed corner. So Bengals do not want to lose him. Chase Brown, Joey Bosa, old age but still a vet. We got Washington, Sanders, and then Mims. Broncos. I don't believe Broncos will lose Mims, but they could lose Mims. I believe he's on the 5th year. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think they're gonna lose him. But still got to put him up there because 1 year remaining. Strong player. And we got Grant Delpit. A lot of teams like to have him. Giants, Cowboys, Jaguars probably all would like to have that player. Strong player on the strong safety. You can also flex him to the linebacker spot. He can make tackles into the A gap, B gap, wherever you need him. And we have the Bucks as well. I calculated the Bucks at about 60 to 80 mil, so they shouldn't have no problem re-signing that guy. They have a lot of money for free agency unless they want to let him go. Cardinals, on the other hand, they might be losing maybe 1 or 2 of these players. I calculated about 16, 15 mil they got. So, but Chargers, I do have Derwin James, Mekhi Becton up here, but like I said, Chargers got about 100 mil. They ain't losing none of these players unless they want to lose these players. Would love to see the Chiefs lose either of these 2 players, but I don't believe Matt Danilo is too. I don't think he's too crazy to let Trent McDuffie and Rashid Rice go. But we got Colts coming in about 15, 25 million. Josh Downs, Micah Pittman, Taylor. Colts probably sign if I'm calculating the way I think I am, they probably re-sign Taylor and let go of Downs and Pittman. It will leave a gap in their receivers, but sometimes you got to pay that running back. You want the rushing game, got to. We come down here to the Commanders. We got Laramie Tunsil, Lattimore, Deron Payne, among many others. Commanders probably able to resign about 1 or 2 of those guys, but other than that, I don't think they'll be able to resign the rest if I'm calculating correctly. We got a negative I think I don't know. Based on what I'm looking at, I thought the Cowboys are negative, but you know, maybe Commish will let me know what he's looking like. But if Commish let go of one of these two players, I know the league gonna be all over him. That's a 25-year-old guard, a 25-year-old linebacker, both fast, pass block, run block. You know, a lot of these teams gonna be shooting after him. Excuse me. Got Minka Fitzpatrick, you know, a free safety who can flex to that corner spot, the linebacker spot as well. Tyreek Hill. We have Devon A-Chain, you know, another fast running back that the league wants. Hey, these are some players, you know, that's why I'm surprised. You know, we got no trades, boo. I'm surprised that a lot more of these teams didn't try to trade these players, you know, based on like what I was looking at. I don't know if they really had the money to re-sign them, you know, maybe they like, we can make a play for the playoffs, a push for the playoffs, excuse me. And they didn't want to let those players go. So, hey, it is what it is. And we got a 63. No, we heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Eagles got 63 mil, so they should have no problem re-signing these guys. Falcons, I got them at 2-10. You know, not really losing too much talent. 49ers the same. They could lose Trent Williams or Jamel Dean though. So I don't know if they're going to be able to re-sign both of those guys at the salary cap that I estimated. We got Giants and Jaguars not losing anybody of note. Jets could be losing Baker Mayfield, but he could go down a couple overall, so it won't be as bad as I'm making it seem. Moving on, is the Lions 1-5. Jamison Williams. I think they're gonna have to tag him. They're gonna have to tag him, or they're gonna have to 5th-year option him. You know, I think it's about time for his 5th-year option. He might have got paid already. I'm not sure. You got Leonard Williams, you know, he's a vet, but he's worked a lot, man. This Packers team, it may be what I'm looking at, unless the Packers can, you know, come to the chat, maybe after I post a video, prove me wrong, is looking like he's going to lose a lot of impact players. You know, Tucker Kraft, that's a high-functioning tight end. You know, Jenkins, high-functioning center. Reed, you know, decent wide receiver with a little bit of height. Leonard Williams, of course, he's a veteran, but you can get him for 1 to 2 years on a rental, and he can go on the Super Bowl team easy. Bryce Young, I don't believe the Panthers are going to let him go, but I just put him up there. And we got White, Douglas, Awonu, Jennings, you know. Ocho, you know, came out and said, I only got 14 million. So I don't know if he's going to be able to resign all those guys, but we wish him the best of luck. And then we got Williams, that is, I forgot which Williams that is. Current Cowboys running back, I forget his name. We got Michael Mayer, tight end. Rams, 75. Rams, I don't think they're going to lose any of these players, you know. I would love to see him lose Kobe Turner, you know, strengthen my run game personally. We got the Ravens, of course. They could lose Marlon Humphrey, but I believe they got enough money to sign him and him alone. Saints, somehow they have Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence now, but maybe Justin Fields goes to the end. Trevor Lawrence is playing a little bit better. We got D Hall, Cross, Charbonnet, all on Seattle. Seattle did say they had 32 mil and 10 to 20. You know, Patrick Queen, Joey Porter could lose one of those two players. That'd be a tough loss for the Steelers defense. You know, a lot of people want Patrick Queen, Joey Porter. I don't know. He's a strong cornerback, but we have Chauncey Gardner, another one of these strong safeties who can flex into this linebacker spot, which is really, really not the best for the Texans. They have I think they're in the negative. I'm not sure. And the Titans, DJ Reader, you know, Spears and Pollard. You don't want to be in a position to lose both of your running backs. So the Titans user has also talked about trading Cam Ward. You know, if people, I don't know if people knew that, but the 49ers also, he had some trades he was trying to make, but nobody offered. People are a bit more stingy this year than they were last year. You know, last year we had a lot of people trading draft picks for players, and I think now after the first season, people see where they are team-wise. You know, not making it to the playoff, making it to the playoffs, losing in the playoffs. So we should see maybe trades come back fluctuate in the offseason. Hopefully, you know, you always love to see a trade. It makes some more unpredictability better. You don't like to see people hoard all the good players until they can't re-sign them anymore. So maybe somebody makes a play. Moving on, we have our mid-season Super Bowl odds. I don't have the preseason odds because I deleted them, but we got the Eagles at 450, Jaguars and Chiefs at 500, Bucks and 49ers at 625, Broncos and Falcons at 825, Commanders and Bears at 1250, Giants, Bears, and Raiders at 1750, and then of course we have the field. So shout out to the field, man. Like I say, bro, Eagles coming out strong, Jaguars coming out strong as well. They matched up. Eagles took the victory, but Jaguars, came with a new offensive scheme, fired their coach. Chiefs, a silent, destructive force, a little bit of a dark horse, not getting the credit they should deserve, 7-1 as well. Bucks struggled a little bit early. Bucks probably should have beat the Eagles in their first setting. I think the Bucks probably should have had that one. So Bucks are stronger than I'm making them appear out to be, but of course it didn't. But 49ers on the other hand did beat the Eagles, so we could see a shakeup in the NFC. It's not the Eagles' game. A lot of people think the Jaguars are just going to win out the AFC. I say there's some tough people out here for me too. We got the Broncos, and then we have the Bengals. Of course, they are struggling a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Raiders also 6-3. Then moving on to our B.E.N.T games of the week. Week 10, I play this week versus bots. I might cover that. I don't know. Christmas is coming up, New Year's and all that. Then we have the Raiders. They're supposed to be their prove-it game week 11 versus the 49ers. And then we have the Commanders versus the Seahawks. So hey, that's been my mid-season update. Anybody has any other questions, things they want me to cover, just DM me. If you can DM me before around Christmas, I could post a quick video here if you want me to update something. But I believe I covered everything. It's a lot to cover. A little bit of a shorter video. No major clips this week. Of course, I just wanted to cover where we're standing in the league so far. Maybe during the week, maybe next week or sometime, I'll do a draft update. If anybody wants to, sprinkle in my ear what they want to take, I might do a little mock draft for fun, just myself, and I might post it for you guys, So hey, it's been a year so far. We're in week 10 now, 7 more weeks. The people who got to prove it, they're gonna prove it. The people who don't, prepare for next year. Do what you got to do. Always stay positive, and just remember, it's for fun. Bragging rights to a little bit, but I'm gonna catch all in the next one.